Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to What She Said. What She Said Sports. It's Wednesday, and I got a lot to talk about. All right, y'all. So, let's see. I got a good show lined up for you. Got my producer hat on earlier today, and y'all know one of the topics that I plan to discuss at 2:30 a.m. A post popped up in my feed, and I saw this guy looking very familiar right next to Coach Prime. And by the way, the jacket Coach Prime had on, the white with the Colorado, I'm like, I gotta get that. That's nice. And the guy next to him, I was like, who is that? I was like, that is Alvin Kamara. So I put out a post last night just to let y'all know I saw it. But then, I had to do a little digging. I had to do a little digging and kind of take the posts of New Orleans podcasters, I guess fans, just people in general in New Orleans on how they feel about Shedeur coming, what they think about Alvin Kamara being right there at CU. So we're going to talk about that. I got a bit of trivia for you. And earlier today, I want to give a shout out to Ben Finesse. Everybody knows who Ben is. He said he's the new Shiloh. Meaning he gonna get on Coach Prime nerves. But I think he's doing a really good job. He has a YouTube page and he has some really good content. What you typically don't see. But at Pro Day, you can watch his perspective on Pro Day. He was there and he was recording the guys. He put together a nice video, basically saying all the guys are back in town. He had Jimmy Horn Jr. You could see Justin Mayers getting his haircut, but then he's sidelined. He's sidelined about third or fourth person deep from the sideline with, watching Shiloh run, watching Cameron Stillman Craig, etc. So it has his funny persona attached to the video. So go check out Ben Finesse on YouTube. Watch his Pro Day video. It's hilarious, but it's also insightful and it's behind the scenes like we haven't seen just yet. He had a first person perspective because he is a player. He's closer to the players. So it was nice to see him just interacting with everybody. So go check it out, Ben Finesse on YouTube. So shout out to Ben. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Okay, so we're just going to start with a bit of trivia. I wanted to see if y'all knew who this person was. So back in 2024, last year, I was doing a lot of traveling on the road and by airplane. So when I had to travel by airplane, I would watch this one particular movie. And I said to myself, how many times have I seen this movie? It seems like essentially it's the only thing I watched. I actually think that that's what it was. I think it's the only thing I watched. Have y'all seen this movie? Okay. So I was like, who is the actor? I was going to be some trivia. I was going to put up his picture and ask y'all if y'all knew who it was. But I was like, I don't know if most people know who this guy is. His name is Kelvin Harrison Jr. He played the lead role in the movie Chevalier. I watched this movie every time I was on Delta Airlines, which was a lot last year. And if you haven't seen it, let me know if you saw it. And maybe you'll understand why I'm encouraging you to go watch it. This movie was spectacular. It was insightful. It taught me a bit of history that I didn't know about the French enslaved people from Africa and the movement that took place in France overall. So you got to go watch it. This young man, I don't. He should have won an Oscar for it. If he didn't, I don't think he did. He should have won an Oscar for it. If you saw the movie Chevalier, let me know in the comments. If not, go check it out. You will not be disappointed. Kelvin Harrison Jr., you can go to his YouTube page showing some love. You know you got the right person. When you see his bio, it says, yeah, you look familiar too. Because I'm pretty sure people keep going up to him and saying, you look familiar. So essentially, he was like, yeah, you look familiar too. So, I just wanted to put that out there. Y'all go watch the movie. It's excellent. Excellent. You will not be disappointed. All right. So, in Colorado Buffalo news, there was a story circulating today that it looks like we may have lost a player. Have y'all heard about this? Maybe y'all have, because I know some of y'all keep up with some other podcasters. So apparently, it's being discussed that number 23, one of our faves, Isaiah Augustave is gone from the program. Have y'all heard about this? Let me know. So I went to his page and he didn't have any stories. He didn't have any new updates. It didn't say I committed anywhere else. And in his bio, it said that he plays for Colorado. So if y'all know the scoop was going on, I don't know. It was said that Uncle Neely discussed it on his podcast this morning that he's no longer with the program. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. I know he was good. I liked him. I think he was hella consistent. Of course, the run game struggled. And it seems that Micah is running back one. So maybe he got scooped up by another school. Y'all know we get our players poached all the time. Maybe he was going to be running back two. Because remember, Micah played RB1 until he got hurt. Then it was Augustave, and he rotated with number 7, Dallin Hayden. But Cam McHale, I think he's out there. I don't know if he's a receiver or a running back, but he's super fast. And I know he lined up against Augustave and ran against him. And I think Cam McHale won. So, it just seems that we may have possibly lost number 23. So keep your ears to the ground. If you hear something, come back and let me know. Don't forget, in the community tab, we can communicate with one another. It'll say like viewer posts like Jerry. I saw Jerry's post today when I clicked on the community tab that essentially said Stephen A is self-serving. So because I did a poll after Stephen A basically said he was going to leave all doors open for him to run for president. And I got some interesting comments. We're going to talk about that later though. But so I can see y'all's posts. So you can on Threads where the conversation continues, you can post it there if y'all find out what happened. If he's committed somewhere else, that's what I mean by what happened. If he's committed to another school, or if he's just gone for a while and he'll be back to see you, whatever the deal is, you can leave the information on Threads. You can put it in community tab, or you can share here in chat. And you can always come back to the chat under this video. Once this video is the live stream is done, you can come back in the comments and just post it there. Oh, he'll be back, or he committed elsewhere, etc. And that's about Isaiah Augustave. I wish, if you ever see this, Isaiah, I wish you well. You will be missed at CU if we don't, have you back on our team. So I just wish him well. Damon said he's going to watch the movie tonight. Good. It's good. I'm telling you, it's a good movie. So Damon, you have to come back in the comments and let me know what you thought of it. 4 stars, 5 stars, or if you want to leave some commentary. It's an excellent movie. It really is. It's a lot happening at one time, and that's what makes movies great. There's a bigger story happening. Then you have the main story, which he's the character of. Then there's a love story involved, especially during that time. It's very interesting. And then there's the, I guess you could say like the middle story kind of happening there. So check it out. So Damon, I'll be interested to see what you think after you watch it. Okay. All right. So moving on. Alvin Kamara. I was ecstatic. I'm surprised I didn't go make a video about it. I'm surprised I didn't make a video about it at 2:30 in the morning where I was truly excited to see Alvin Kamara because it made me feel like New Orleans might be a possibility, right? So, but there's this guy who plays for the Saints. They refer to him as the mayor of New Orleans. His name is Cam Jordan. Now, earlier this morning when Coach Prime put out his words of wisdom, it said protect your peace at all costs, essentially. It was like he protects, when he knows that his jewelry is put away, his person is, his security is around, he does a lot to protect his peace. Why wouldn't you protect your own peace? And I was like, that's good. And I knew it was going to come in handy today. And it did. It did. And one of the things I think I messed up on YouTube, I was watching YouTube and I saw the NFL, which is the network, and that's their YouTube channel. And I clicked on it because I saw Shedeur's name. See, they got me. And I kind of wanted to see what they said about New Orleans because like last night after I saw Alvin Kamara, I was like, let me go to some of these Saints pages and watch it. And I found some really good ones with Trizzy Trace. That's his name. He was good. But they got me with Shedeur. But I had to sit through a diatribe about Caleb Williams and people going back and forth in the comments about the network having people who don't have good takes. So I wanted to see what Cam Jordan was talking about when they said he was the mayor of New Orleans. So they asked him about Shedeur coming to New Orleans, and this was his response. And I'm trying to figure out if he a hater because he's been around for 15 years, but some of his takes were kind of sketchy. But this is what he said when he was asked. So what do you think about Shedeur coming to New Orleans? Well, the Saints haven't had a first round draft pick since Archie Manning. I was like, well, okay. And then somebody else screamed out who was on the panel. I don't know who it was. He said, well, it's time for change. I was like, yeah, the Giants haven't had a black starting quarterback yet, so I kind of get it. But the Saints have. The Saints have. They're no stranger to that. I was looking up because I knew some of the names. There was already a number 2, Aaron Brooks. And then we said Teddy Bridgewater. I felt like Jameis Winston went through there. The Blake, I think Blake. So they've had like 4 or 5 black quarterbacks. So the Saints aren't a stranger to black quarterbacks. But with somebody being on the inside like Cam Jordan, who's looked highly upon, being a legend in the city, 15 years with the Saints, to say that, I mean, he could be right. But I don't know. You know, things have changed. They do have Kellen Moore, who does want his own quarterback. And one of the questions that was being discussed was, how do you think Derek Carr will do this year, or how do you think the Saints will do this year? Now, this is when I didn't know exactly who he was. This is what he talked about first. He said, well, I think they'll be fine. He talked about all the injuries they had. He said, if we have Derek Carr and he's healthy, I think we'll do fine. They asked him about Dennis Allen, the guy that was fired. He liked him. He was defensive-minded coach, not an offense-minded coach. Now they have Kellen Moore, who is an offensive-minded coach. So is it possible the Saints are in the middle of a transition? What I mean by that is, okay, it's true. Y'all have not had a first-round draft pick for QB since Arch Manning. Maybe they're holding on to that. Then again, maybe they're ready to let it go. You know what I mean? So I took some posts of the city and I tried to figure out if he was a hater. Now that was an honest take. He's insightful because he's on the inside. So you can't debate whether or not he's right about that because that's just facts, right? But what you can try to listen to most of his conversation and figure out if he's somewhat blocking new people coming to the Saints. That's kind of what I was getting. So they asked him about Aaron Rodgers and Shedeur, or they asked somebody else about it, or they asked him about it, etc. And again, his take wasn't exactly positive, but I did take the good parts of what he said, and I was like, well, that's kind of true. And immediately the Giants came to mind. And what did I say about the Giants? We're going to have to see what they do with their number 3 pick to know if what I said is true, that they're playing in Russell Wilson's face. Now, that would be a travesty because what did we talk about yesterday? Russell Wilson was in second place in his division. Now, that's not anything to overlook. And that's not a quarterback that you bench unless you have some type of grievance or retaliation you want to hurl his way. So we're going to see what happens to the Giants. Now, as far as the Saints, everybody's saying Shedeur could fall to number 9, and nobody's talking like the Saints could trade up to Tennessee to get the first pick, or they could trade with the Browns to get the second pick. I mean, it's true. The Browns need a quarterback, but they also have 11 picks. They don't have to get a quarterback out of the first round. And my opinion is, I noticed all of the channels are saying Shedeur's going to fall, but nobody has mentioned what typically happens, that teams trade up. Every mock draft has been just straight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as if no team is going to trade up. And I'm like, y'all have to be leaving that out intentionally. So for me, this is my take. The Saints trade up to take Shedeur. I can't tell you at what spot. It could be number 6, but I don't know why you go from 6 to 9. So personally, I said 1 to Tennessee. Tennessee is wishy-washy on whether or not they're going to get a QB, whether they need one or not. They just seem to want more picks. And like Keo told us, that's what they need because they need too many different pieces. No one piece, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, is going to fix their woes. So I say the Saints trade up from 9 to 1 to get Shedeur. And if Tennessee wants to get Cam, maybe all the crushing on Shedeur from the Cleveland Browns wasn't for them. Maybe it was for another team. Maybe the Saints trade up to number 2 and take that pick, and Cleveland gets a QB in the second round. That's possible. Or they take Jalen Milroe at number 9. We got a mock draft coming. So I have to figure out how to display that information to you, especially with all of these trades. But it's something I want to do, and I think we need to talk about it. So for now, Saints trade up to get Shedeur. We'll figure out if it's trading up to 1 or trading up to 2. So y'all let me know y'all thoughts about that. I don't know if y'all know who Cam Jordan is. Let me know your thoughts on his commentary. If you felt like he was neutral, I thought he was insightful, but on some of his takes, I did feel like because he's been there 15 years, he might be just a tad bit jaded against new players coming to the Saints and actually changing the franchise. Because to say that they haven't had a first-round draft pick since Archie Manning, he's saying the Saints are stuck in their ways and they're not really looking to change. You know what I mean? So he could be right. So you let me know. He was on the NFL Network. Cam Jordan, go check it out. All right. So moving right along. Let me see who's in the chat so I can say hello. All right. Hey, everybody. Okay, so I wanted to do a member shout out to Gracie. How you doing? Gracie, Jerry, welcome. Welcome back, fam. Welcome back, Jerry. D. Johnson, welcome. Damon, thank you, Damon. Thank you. And then we have, I think I put in the comments. So I just want to say hi to everybody. And I'll put that out there. So I want to shout out What She Said family, Gracie, Kiel, my steadfast, my day ones. Thank y'all so much. And to the friends of What She Said family, 400 Circle Media, also a day one, Jerry and Darlene. I appreciate y'all so much. Let me make sure I didn't leave anybody out. James, 400 Circle Media, Jerry and Darlene. Thank y'all for being friends of What She Said and supporting the channel. Thank y'all. It is making a difference. While we're making church announcements, you know how it is at the Black Church. We got to get the announcements in there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There are already 16 of us in here. Hit the like button. If you can't stay long, make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to help the channel grow. As y'all can see, the logo for tonight, I'm showing the What She Said Listen Up audio podcast. The new segment is out, episode 5, talking about Ja Morant. So there's been an update to Ja Morant. Go listen to the segment, and he came back and changed his celebration. And he's doing the grenade now. So some people have a problem with that. I don't. Go listen to episode 5, Ja Morant, When You Know Better. And NBA, Why Allow It. Go check it out. And I talk about why it is what they call it, the gun gesture keeps happening. Let me know your thoughts in the comments at Listen Up by What She Said Sports. All right. So back to our regularly scheduled programming, What She Said podcast. Let's get into the next video. All right. So where is,
I got Swayze out here,
so I put this video together.
Wherever he go. Good day of practice. They got to string it together. I'm Kamara. I'm here. I'm checking out though. Yes, indeed. I'm out here in Boulder, man. Out here with Prime. Out here with the Buffaloes. My guy Swayze out here, so you know I'm following wherever he go.
All right. So that's Alvin Kamara, and he's at CU. I was ecstatic. I was like, the Saints, y'all already know, Coach Prime has already been quoted, and you can hear the video himself saying he liked the black and gold. He has no problem with Shedeur going to the Saints. You heard me say the QB coach from the Saints, as well as the wide receiver coach, Shedeur and Jimmy, could go to New Orleans. So there's a lot of New Orleans love being shown to Shedeur's way. So I took a few comments from people who are Saints fans. Again, Saints and Falcons fans going back and forth talking about who wants Shedeur. Yesterday it was, if Kirk Cousins is leaving, we want Shedeur to come to the Falcons, and Saints fans are like, nope, he coming to New Orleans. So we're gonna go over some of the comments that I put together here. Shout out again to Trizzy Trace out of New Orleans on his Saints podcast. He said the new term in New Orleans, instead of New Orleans, the city's name has been changed informally to Shedeurlands. Shedeur leans, like New Orleans, Shedeur leans. Trizzy, we love it. We absolutely love it. Even here in Atlanta, we love it. So my house is divided right now. So we were talking about the Saints and the Falcons, and it's like, the Falcons fans don't want New Orleans to get Shedeur. Even if they don't get him, because they got Michael Penix Jr., they still don't want, because they know what time it is. They know what time it is. So here's the question I have to put to y'all. Do y'all believe that if Shedeur goes to New Orleans, which that's what I'm hoping for, that seems to be the best landing place, do y'all believe he would start? Or do y'all think the Saints, who haven't picked a first round QB since Archie Manning, do y'all think if they get Shedeur, they're going to have him to be behind Derek Carr? Honestly, let me know your true thoughts in the comments. Okay. Hey, Jackie, how you doing? 22 said Pittsburgh Steelers might trade up and get Shedeur because their pick is 21. The Saints may not have to trade up because Shedeur will fall in their lap at pick 9. Yes. Now, that is true, 22. Now, here's what people were saying today. I have a photo of Shedeur, and on the photo, I added the caption, Shedeur meeting with Pittsburgh. So let's talk about these two teams. They both black and gold, but it's different. All right. And the question, well, yeah, let me tell you what was said yesterday. So yesterday it was discussed that Mike Tomlin is being forced. They said they use the term advised. To me, advised and forced is kind of the same. So it said Mike Tomlin is being advised to draft Shedeur at 21. I'm like, he still could trade up. I still don't see them sitting there because the Saints are at 9. That's Mike Tomlin being advised to trade up to draft Shedeur and put him behind Aaron Rodgers so he can learn from Aaron Rodgers. Here's what I'm telling y'all is happening. There is a concerted effort. There is a fervent effort to make sure these new QBs don't start. They are trying so hard to protect the old guard, whether they are impactful or not. That's what happened to Michael Penix Jr. last year in Atlanta, and it failed miserably. But have they given up? Even though they saw Jaden Daniels start and get as far as he did, even though CJ Stroud started before him and got as far as he did, have they given up? No. So once again, they want to take Shedeur and relegate him to a team to make sure he doesn't start. They do not want Shedeur to start. I don't think they care whether Cam Ward starts or not because there's never been a conversation. But when it comes to Shedeur, you hear the conversation. If he goes to Vegas, he's going to be behind Geno Smith. If he goes to the Giants, I don't know who he would be behind because that whole scenario is crazy. And then if he goes to the Saints, he's going to be behind Derek Carr. If he goes to Pittsburgh, he's going to be behind Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers haven't even decided to go to Pittsburgh. And they giving him all the time in the world to decide. And Cam Jordan pointed out that because he knows Aaron Rodgers, they seem to be friends. And that's why I say his conversation is just slightly skewed. He was like, well, he has this off-season routine. Anyway, he ought to be lucky to be playing because he like 5 minutes from retirement. So I don't even know why they give him the luxury of that because Russell didn't get that. But when it comes to Shedeur, I want you to pay attention that the teams they want him to go to, they either want him to go second round. They're talking about his night could be embarrassing, a la Lamar Jackson. I told y'all that yesterday, that they were trying to have that conversation by saying that Coach Prime interviewed Lamar Jackson, who sat there and went last in the first round. And the announcer, the little analyst was like, that's interesting. So it's like they trying to set him up to be embarrassed. They keep pointing out that he's going to fall. It sounds like, again, Mike Tomlin does not have any autonomy, and he's being forced to take Shedeur at 21, which in their minds would be a la Lamar Jackson, which he went at 32. So they keep pointing out that if he doesn't go to the Giants, that he's going to slide down. Again, no mention of the reality of what happens during the draft, that teams trade up. Like the Saints couldn't trade up to 1. Like the Steelers couldn't trade up to 21. But it's also given the Steelers don't have any autonomy themselves as an organization. It's like Russell got dragged out of there, even though they want to keep him. And now suddenly they're interested in Shedeur. And it's almost like, okay, I want you to get Shedeur, and I want you to wait till the 21st pick, let him sit there. And then I want you to put him behind Aaron Rodgers like they tried to do Russell Wilson. And that's what it seemed like is happening. It's like they're trying to strong arm. They can't get to Shedeur. So I need to strong arm the team that I want him to go to. And the furthest pick is 21. So we're going to force him there, force him behind Aaron Rodgers, force him to QB2 so he doesn't get what he wants. And it's all because why? I don't know, because they showed a picture of Joe Namath yesterday in a white fur coat somewhere. I don't know if it was when he was drafted or at a football game, but the point is, Shedeur is not the only player to have swagger. And I don't think this is about swagger. I think this is the same thing it's about when it came to Lamar Jackson being drafted. You don't get to have your way. If we want you to do something or we want you to be a certain way and we don't get it, then we're going to lean. If we can't lean on you, then we're going to lean on other people to do what we want to do. And that's what it is. Look at how they treated Russell Wilson. Essentially dragged him out of Pittsburgh when his team was in second place. Because why? He was sent there from Denver after they publicly humiliated him. Sent him to Denver. He was supposed to be QB2, just like Michael Penix Jr., and it didn't work out. He ended up being QB1, just like Michael Penix Jr. So now it's Shedeur's turn. So this isn't specific to Shedeur Sanders. This is not happening because his father's last name is Sanders. This is happening because he's good. This is happening because he's going to win. And I know y'all like, well, isn't that the point? Yes. But that's not what they want? No. Because it's not who they want it to be. Their golden boy seems to be Jackson Dart. If he gets drafted by the Giants, who you think going to start? That's going to be interesting. Now, it said that they'll wait until next year to get Arch Manning. Okay. So let's see what they do with the number 3 pick. The Saints, Jalen Milroe came up. Cam Jordan talked about Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart. He said, yeah, both of their names are floating out there. But the Saints' history has shown they have not picked a first-round QB. Now, I thought, honestly, they could have gotten Milroe out of the second round before he ran a 4.37, or they could have gotten Jackson Dart out of the second round. But since they're trying to push him up in the first round, and they have pointed out so many times that Shedeur is sliding, where the hell they think Jackson Dart going if only 3 teams in the first round need a QB in the top 10? I don't hear the media associating Jackson Dart with the Saints. I don't hear the media associating Jackson Dart with the Giants. See, they were trying to relegate Shedeur to the Giants because they just knew he wasn't going to start because of the obvious reasons. They've never had a black starting quarterback. But now that they have Russ and Jameis Winston, if you drag Shedeur over to the Giants, guess what's going to happen? Your starting quarterback is going to be black. Are the Saints willing to pass up on Shedeur Sanders in the first round at number 9, number 1, or number 2 by way of a trade because they have never drafted a first-round QB since Arch Manning? Or are they ready to change? They're not afraid of black quarterbacks. That's facts. I looked up an Aaron Brooks jersey on eBay. It was $500. He was the last number 2 QB I think that they had. And I was like, Lord, I want it, but, I wanted to say Sanders, but I just thought it would have been cute. But $549, and it's been a minute since he's been QB down there. So, it's a lot happening. It's a lot of strong arming. Like, trying to force Russ out of Pittsburgh, force Shedeur into Pittsburgh, but force him behind Aaron Rodgers, taking Russ away from Pittsburgh because he was supposed to be QB2. It's like a punishment. Well, we sent him to be QB2, but you let him be QB1, so we can't leave him here. That's what it's given. And this has nothing to do with winning football games. This is what they call politics. And what it's actually called is racial politics. It says, have you heard that on NFL on ESPN, there's predicting Shedeur not going to be taken until the 9th pick? Yes, because of the Saints. I didn't hear them say it. I just heard Shedeur is going to the Saints. The Saints have the 9th pick. I don't know why the Saints couldn't trade up to get Shedeur from number 1, because Tennessee don't seem 100% on Cam, despite what people think. But if I want you to pay attention, out of all the quarterbacks in this draft, they only talk about one incessantly, whether it's good or bad. They only focused on where this one person is truly going. And it seems to be very important on where he goes. And it seems to be they don't want him to go to a team where he starts. I know, James, what's his name that left the Seahawks? Geno Smith wanted to go to another team because he wanted money, and the Seahawks said no. Did it have to be the Vegas Raiders? No, it didn't. But his old coach is there. And if you think that they were solid on Shedeur Sanders, the Vegas Raiders, then we would have never heard about Matthew Stafford. And that's why I went lukewarm on the Vegas Raiders. Because I feel like once they hired Pete Carroll, they gave Pete Carroll carte blanche to do whatever he wanted to do despite Tom Brady. If Shedeur go to the Saints, Shedeur will start either beginning of the season or mid of the season. Michael Penix Jr. It says the Saints might trade Derek Carr to move up to get Shedeur because Carr wants out. Oh, really? Derek Carr wants out of New Orleans? Why? Because Dennis Allen is gone? I think that might be why. All I know is that when they hired Kellen Moore, it was said he wanted his own QB, and the GM wanted to keep Derek Carr. So maybe the QB, maybe Kellen Moore, who was recently hired and highly thought of, is winning that debate. And he's not afraid to have a black QB. You know, he's not against it. He's not refusing to do it. So from the city's perspective, from a business perspective, and from a football team winning perspective, having Shedeur there makes sense. To me, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Alvin Kamara, Shedeur Sanders, hell, Jimmy Horn Jr., that's how I see it. And I get it. Cam Jordan is the legend, the mayor. He's been there a long time. But sometimes when you've been somewhere for a long time, you kind of get fiercely protective of your environment, and you do kind of push away the new opportunities, you know, that are coming your way because it changes things for you. If I see Derek Carr being gone, then chances are maybe I'm next. So you try to hold on to the way things are rather than promote change. Because to me, that's what he kind of was doing. And I looked at the comments and people were like, he got some bad takes. You know, this is really a good opportunity for him to transition to an analyst, but his takes aren't good. I'm like, well, hell, that might actually get him the job. That might get him the job. So I did a poll. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at a poll I did on YouTube with Shedeur. Let's see. All right, here we go. Let's see if it switches over. Oh, there we go. All right, so I don't know if y'all can see it. Let me know if y'all can see it. Okay, so I took a poll. I didn't do it today. I think I did it yesterday or day. The moment I heard about the Saints, okay, that's when I started the poll. So 54 votes. That's good. That's real good. Thank y'all so much. All right, so I asked the question, how y'all feeling about Shedeur going to the Saints? The responses, available responses to choose from was yeah, yes, who that, and no, not a good fit. As y'all can see, 85% of the people polled say yeah, who that. I'm telling y'all, that's all y'all gonna hear if Shedeur go to the Saints. Who that? Because they ready. They are ready. Like these people, this is what they want. The people have spoken, fans have spoken, podcasters from New Orleans have spoken. Shout out to Trizzy Trace. Shedeurlands is now the new mantra. Instead of New Orleans, it's Shedeurlands. They ready to give him the key to the city. They ready for Shedeur to come now. So if Shedeur get drafted by the Saints, be it at number 9, be it at number 1, And it does seem to be people who are associated with the NFL who are trying to make sure he doesn't get the top 5. So that's why you don't hear, oh, the Saints could trade up to get Shedeur because he's the best quarterback in the draft or the second best quarterback in the draft. That's why you don't hear that scenario. It's amazing that you don't hear it because it's common sense, because that's what happens. So the city of New Orleans has, it's an easy decision. I mean, if you have a float with your old coach that you fired midway through the season on paper mache on the front of a float, standing in a pit of fire with a black eye, that means your team is ready to move on. And you did the right thing by getting Kellen Moore. Now, New Orleans Saints, do the right thing for your city and for the team. The opportunity to win, draft Shedeur Sanders. Don't wait till number 9. Trade up to number 1 or number 2. They say the Cleveland Browns going to get scammed out of their pick. If you can get Cleveland's pick and they go into the second round with a QB, that's not a scam. That's a win-win situation. So from a business perspective and a football's perspective, Shedeur Sanders is the best fit for the New Orleans Saints to trade up to number 1 or number 2. I like it. All right. So shout out to everybody who did the poll. If y'all are out there, I appreciate it. This was actually really good. So I'm going to leave it out there and we'll come back and we'll check. I'm sure it's still going to be the consensus. 85% says, yeah, who that? That's what we want. Shedeur Sanders to come to Shedeurlands. Shedeurlands. I love it. They are already ready. They are ready. So, and I think if Shedeur come to New Orleans this year, Shaquille O'Neal was the king of Bacchus. And actually, they gave away a football. It lights up. It lights up. So if Shedeur come to New Orleans, he might actually get bestowed and crowned as the king of Bacchus. So that would be nice too. So y'all would have to definitely come to New Orleans for Mardi Gras if that's the case. My mom said, so with Shedeur, if Shedeur get drafted to New Orleans, are you moving back? I'm like, hell, I might. I might. I don't know. Football season lasts for a while, so it might be good to be there. Then we just gonna roll into, Mardi Gras. And people think that New Orleans should be the permanent place to host Super Bowl. I totally agree. The city's set up for it. So, yep. So, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right. 400-second media, you late. You always on time. You always on time. You always on time. All right. So, let me see if I have this other video in here.
I got Swayze out here, so I'm following wherever he go. Good day of practice. They got to string it together.
All right. So if you go back to the beginning, just turn the audio off. Y'all can see that there are comments that I'm trying to get shown. So I'll just let the loop play so I can see the comments because there's a bar in front of it. It says, Alvin Kamara knows how to let us know who our QB will be. I'm telling y'all, these folks are ready. These folks are ready. All right, so I'll just wait till it replays. But to see him there, it was just amazing to me because I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it, and I took it as a confirmation. I took it as a sign. It seems like the fans are on board. Coach Prime is on board. Alvin Kamara is on board. I think that's huge. He's been there since 2017. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I know in my phone is a picture of Alvin Kamara jersey when I came through New Orleans, one of the 6 times last year. And I remember thinking when I took the photo, I was at a breakfast spot on my way back to Atlanta. I said, these folks love Alvin Kamara down here. If you think Cam Jordan is the mayor of the city, see this guy right here? He's the king. They love Alvin Kamara. And I was like, where is he from? Turns out he's from right here, Norcross, Georgia. That they consider that to be like North Atlanta, I guess. I thought it was a whole different place. They're like, no, that's the North area. That's what they call the North. They said he's friends with the Migos. And I did the numbers. I said, okay, Alvin Kamara was drafted in 2017. He went to college at Tennessee. Before that, he was at a community college. So if he went to college for 4 years, that's 2013. He graduated high school 2012. And the Migos went mainstream 2011. So that makes sense because he knew them. It was said that he had a photo with like a chain on for the label that the Migos used to be a part of called Quality Control, QC. And I said, oh, so he's about the same age as the rest of these guys. So, yeah, he's from right there in Norcross, was a Tennessee Vol, went to the Saints. He's only been with the Saints And they love this guy. This guy right here, when you see a jersey in New Orleans, if it ain't Coach Prime's, honestly, that happens. It's gonna be out. It's gonna be number 41, Alvin Kamara. So shout out to New Orleans. I hope y'all get Shedeur a week because I'm gonna be a week. I'm gonna be a week some way, shape, or form. I think it's just a good thing for the city, and I think he just Shedeur just gonna resurrect this city, and it's gonna be just like Jackson State. It said, "I'm a Falcons fan. I will never want y'all to get a good QB." See, I'm telling y'all, like people. Even Falcon fans are trying to block Shedeur from going. If he's not coming to Atlanta, which he's not, I don't see him being QB2 in Atlanta. He going to New Orleans, and the Falcons Saints rivalry is starting to heat up. The Falcons Saints rivalry that I see, the legendary, is Sanders versus Manning, and I said that already. Arch Manning and that family in New Orleans, and now the Sanders from Atlanta, basically Atlanta's glory, coming to New Orleans. I'm telling y'all that's like an inside joke. That's huge. That's just huge. So, it's just one of those things where we're just gonna have to see what happens. But that is what should happen. Oh, 400 Second Media, you know who QC is then. Okay. All right. So people take this as a sign that Alvin Kamara was letting us know that Shedeur is coming to the Saints. I'm like, the signs are kind of all starting to point that direction. Coach Prime on board, saying black and gold is his favorite. Having the QB coach, having the QB coach and the wide receiver coach. And I keep saying Jimmy Shedeur gonna end up at the same place. And remember, Shedeur had on that what? Let me find that picture. Remember, Shedeur had on that hat. Yeah, I wonder if I still have it. Let's see. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Let's see if I still have it. I saw it the other day, but it could be on a different device. All I know is when Shedeur got to Indianapolis, he was spotted and people talked about how he had on his backpack. And he had 3 hats attached to his backpack. And one of the hats was the New Orleans Saints. So maybe he already knew. And now we just now having a conversation. Here it is right here. Having a conversation publicly. And I'm telling y'all, it ain't no coincidence Alvin Kamara's there. It's just not. Right there. You see, now that's a Browns hat. Then that's supposed to be Minnesota. Over to the right, you see the fleur-de-lis down here at the bottom? That's actually a Saints hat. Y'all saw how much the Browns was crushing on Shedeur. Now the Saints have entered the picture. Let's see if Shedeur going to Minnesota with J.J. McCarthy is a conversation. It should not be. It should not be. But let's just see, because then this picture will not have been coincidental. There's no Vegas. There's no Giants. And if it's true that Shedeur canceled his meeting with the Titans, there's no Titans. Then maybe this was prophetic all along. Maybe it was. All right, so let's move on to Shedeur Sanders meeting with Pittsburgh. All right, so that's the latest. I don't know when this took place. I thought the only things that were happening were private workouts. Like it was said, Travis was having a private workout. What I thought the Titans or the Browns. Shedeur was supposed to be and Travis having dinner with the Browns. Now we hear Shedeur, Pittsburgh. Now, let's talk about Pittsburgh. We talked about the Saints. Shedeur could possibly be QB1. He should be QB1. 22 said that the Saints could trade Shedeur. I'm sorry, Lord. Trade. They could do that too. But they could trade Derek Carr and move up to get Shedeur. You never know. Tennessee might want Derek Carr. I don't know. It could be the Browns too. So that's not out of the question. So now what we're talking about is the 21st pick in the NFL draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I just said I feel like Pittsburgh don't have a lot of autonomy. They might be forced to wait to number 21. There seems to be some type of coercion happening here where they might want to try to embarrass Shedeur like they did Lamar Jackson and make him fall to 20 when they could easily trade up to get him, which is the typical course of business. So they will be going away from the typical course of business to prove a point, pretty much like they did for Lamar Jackson. And then that means Shedeur gonna go on to be rookie of the year and all these other things too, with MVP and etc. Because they trying to hold back greatness. So if Pittsburgh has the 21st pick and they get Shedeur, it seems like Aaron Rodgers might fall. Who I think Aaron Rodgers trying to get to Minnesota, but it seems he had a workout with Pittsburgh. It's also said that Aaron Rodgers might not tell Pittsburgh yes or no until after the draft. So let me see. So he's already worked out with the other players, DK Metcalf, right? So he did an audition. That's basically what it is. So now it's essentially, if he waits till after the draft, his mindset seems to be, well, let me see who you're gonna draft at QB2, and I'm gonna make my decision. I mean, who else you deciding on? I don't even know what other team he deciding on. Oh, I think what it is. It's not another team. It's his retirement. So if I don't like who you draft, maybe if I have some competition, I'ma just retire. And then after they draft Shedeur, then he becomes QB1. Because you have to go get somebody else. Maybe you go get Derek Carr and you bring him there. So the curious case of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the reason why I say it's curious, because we all for years have loved Mike Tomlin, his ability to make decisions. But it seems like ever since the Russell Wilson Cummings landing in Pittsburgh and Justin Fields landing in Pittsburgh, it seems like they kind of took his power away. And I feel like it was no more evident than ushering Rush out of there, even with them going to the playoffs and being in second place. And now that the slate is clean, it's like they're trying to force Shedeur there, but not QB1, QB2, potentially if Aaron Rodgers land there. And I told y'all, I read an article that said the Steelers failed to secure a $40 million QB. Now, remember, the draft hadn't happened yet. They were talking about Aaron Rodgers. And they showed a picture of Mike Tomlin. There are people who believe that forcing Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh is basically trying to fire Mike Tomlin. Because they know he's not who he used to be, even though he possibly hasn't accepted it. But the fact that there are no other teams knocking down your door to get him, and that he's being forced to Pittsburgh, kind of like Shedeur, the conversation right now is forcing Shedeur to Pittsburgh, even though everybody's talking about the Saints. Notice the media hasn't really kind of fallen in love with that. It's like, oh, no, let's just go to number 21. That's where the let's try to embarrass him scenario seems to be creeping into the conversation. Dama said, what's the name of that movie? Chevalier. Chevalier. And 400 Media said facts. Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT. He was. I just don't see it. And if he was that much of a GOAT, 400 Circle Media, and I think you're a Jets fan, I think other teams would be trying to secure his services. That is not happening. He's literally being forced on one team, Pittsburgh. And it seems that Shedeur was being forced on the Giants, but now that conversation is waning, because I think the reality is coming full circle there. Even though they don't think Russ is QB1, they don't believe Jameis is QB1. They don't believe that Shedeur is going there. So it's like, oh, we're just going to relegate Shedeur to 21. So I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. That's just what we're going to have to do. Welcome, y'all. It's 26 of us here, or 28. Please make sure there are 26 likes. Hit the like button for me. Take a moment. Just hit the like button. It's free. Hit the like button. We do have memberships, so you can join us. If you want to join us, hit the join button and choose your level, friends or family. We love to have you either way. As our podcast continues to grow. Tomorrow, I will be back at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have to move my podcast up an hour early. It's temporary, probably for like a couple of weeks, but that's what I got to do. So I'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, 400 Circle Media say he a big Jets fan. Okay, so tell me, are y'all getting another QB? Or is Justin Fields QB1 down there? Let me know. Put it live at 8 p.m. tomorrow. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Thank you for that, 400 Circle Media. All right, y'all, I'm going to get myself out of here. I don't know if I told y'all, but my beautiful daughter is graduating from college. She finished in 4 years flat. I'm so proud of her. And she's already scheduled to take her LSAT exam for entrance to law school. So I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be busy. But I am one proud mama. So I'm going to get myself out of here. And I will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Oh, Justin Fields is QB1. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. All right. So I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. I appreciate it. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow until grass season is over with. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna see y'all. I'm gonna see y'all later. Thank y'all so much. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And I'm going to let our theme song take us out of here. Give you time to wrap up your conversations. I truly appreciate it.
Hit that like. Don't be stingy now. Join the movement. Let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes, together we rose, reaching higher and higher. From hoops to the griddle, we cover it all. Champions rise and together we never fall. Join the fam, we celebrate every win. What she said, let's meet where the passion begins. Hit that like, don't be stingy now. Join the movement, let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes, together we rose, reaching higher and higher. Welcome aboard, let's make it loud. What she saying, with her other crowd.